the last few years have been quite bad for our poorest citizens, especially our youngest citizens, the children who have suffered during the pandemic and continue to suffer with a K-shaped recovery. I believe the scarring of India's lower middle class households and its small and medium enterprises, we haven't seen the full effects so far, but we will see the effects over time. And that means any rebound will remain somewhat subdued after the initial strong rebound from the lows of the pandemic. So we need to work on this. India's growth cannot be taken for granted. But I also want to emphasize that our slow growth is not all the fault of the pandemic. It is something that has been building up. Our underperformance actually dates from perhaps the global financial crisis and its aftermath. Read the papers. Our biggest problem is we're not creating enough good jobs. You can see with the protests against the Agnipath scheme. What is the Agnipath scheme for those who don't follow the Indian scene closely? The government announced a change in military recruitment. Now, at the entry level, 3/4 of the people will be recruited for 4 years and then given an exit handshake, and the rest will stay on. Now, this seems like something that could make the military much younger and more effective, perhaps less well trained. There's a lot of debate on all that. But what is important is a lot of young people took to the streets on hearing this, simply because government jobs are, in a sense, the last resort, given there are few other jobs available. You've all heard about 12 million applicants in the railways for 35,000 jobs. You see, many students sitting for exam after exam, public service exam, until they superannuate. They become too old to take more exams. And then they have to actually look for a job, which is non-government. Now, the worrisome thing about all these people looking for government jobs is not just the fact that jobs are so scarce, but the fact that they're so scarce despite the fact that our biggest minority, women, are not really entering the labor force in a big way. India's female labor force participation is among the lowest in the G20 at 20.3% in 2019. We rivaled Saudi Arabia for how bad it was for women. India's record is very good if you look at the 2 decades after the 1991 reforms. We grew at an average of about 7% a year, which is, with very few exceptions, one of the strongest records in development.